Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ashworld, my little world of magic, miracles, and possibilities. I'm Dr. Ashish, and I love magic. I love to create magic in everybody's life, and this channel is all about that. Every episode that you watch, you will learn something new. You'll learn something how to create, how to change your life, and how to create magic in your day to day life. So, my guest today is very, very special to me. Let me tell you one thing. I had a big crush on her as I was growing up. She is an amazing Indian actress. She has the title of Femina Miss India Universe in 1979. I mean, imagine. And one of the most beautiful person when I was growing up. She is married to one of my favorite actors, Paresh Rawal, and she is none other than this Dr. Swaroop Sampat Rawal. I am so happy to have you while we are going to talk about manifestation, because this is my manifestation, you coming here. So welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to come here just asking once. Welcome to this channel.
Thank you, Ashish. I am so happy to be here.
All right, so let's talk about your life, your journey. I mean, you know, when you were a kid, you always wanted to be an actress, or what was it about you?
Well, actually, I never wanted to be an actress. I love theater. I love films because I've grown up in theater, because my dad was in theater. But I was more of a backstage person.
Okay.
So I used to do set designing, costume designing. Of course, I used to put on makeup. At even 12 and 13, I knew how to put professional makeup, but I put it on and take it off.
Okay.
I wouldn't walk around with it. It's only when I met Shafi Namdar, the Shafi Bhai, and Paresh that I started actually acting. It was a very funny thing. We were just hanging out on the steps of KC College, and Shafi turns to Paresh and says, "अरे यार वो heroine नहीं मिल रही, तुम्हारी girlfriend को ले लेते हैं." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, चलो चलो मैं करती हूँ." It was as simple as that,
Wow.
and I worked in it. Films I really didn't want to do either, but became Miss India, and Yashji was there, and he offered me a film right on the stage when I became Miss India.
Amazing.
And then Rishida even offered me a film. So that's how I came into films.
So cool. So, it's interesting that, you thought you never wanted to be an actress, but you
Yes.
eventually got into it.
Yes.
But Miss India, I mean, was it something that you thought about? Was it something that you manifested? How did that come into your life?
That manifestation was something I didn't realize till much later. Dad filled up the form, and I kept telling him, I'll do it maybe next time. I love being photographed. So I was already on the Femina cover and, doing photographs with professionals and things like that. But I don't know if I wanted to be, that much attention. I don't know if I wanted. But I remember something very clearly. When Rita Faria became the Miss India, I was about 12, 13, 14, around that age. I don't know exactly that age. And my cousins had gone to see it. And they said, a girl called Rita Faria became Miss India. And my cousins were about 14, 15 years older than me. And at that time, I thought, hey, it would be so nice to be a Miss India.
Oh.
But maybe my message went.
Correct.
And, it was accepted. And then much later, that 14, 15, so it was another 5 years later. I was about 17 and a half, something like that. And I became Miss India. So one of the things I think was that I did not make that huge effort, or what you say, gadha mazuri.
Correct.
It was there, happening for me,
So this is one of the things that I always teach my, students or participants. Whenever you want to manifest something, you have to make that choice. So somewhere you had that thought.
Yes.
Okay. That desire came in when, somebody spoke about it. And then you thought, okay, let me do this. But you didn't have that desperation. You didn't have that, it was effortless. Like, okay, let me, go there.
Right. Yes.
I would love to hear your experience. I mean, personally, when you were there on the stage, I'm sure it was the last 3 finalists and, 5 finalists generally you are.
It was something I can still remember. It was like 79, but I can still remember it so clearly. That time there was Miss Bombay, Miss Calcutta and all, and Miss Bombay was the last one.
Okay.
So Miss Calcutta, Delhi and all, etc. were already chosen. But in the Miss Bombay, there were 10 of us and they chose 3. They chose 2, sorry. And then there was the Miss India happening after that. And all the chosen girls were there, 10 chosen from here, there, and all. And I had put my makeup, I wore my sari, and I was sitting. And it's such an out of body experience type of thing, I can see myself sitting and looking at all these girls so desperately trying to get ready and, putting on stuff. And, I very foolishly at that time had worn small earrings.
Yeah.
And Sangeeta Bijlani was one of the models at that time. There was a fashion show there. And she comes to me and she says, I have nicer earrings and necklace. Would you wear them? So I said, of course.
Oh, nice.
And she gave me her jewelry to wear. They were huge kundan earrings and necklace, the one which I wore in the finals. And they went so well with the red sari that I was wearing. But I can still see everybody desperately trying. You see, I don't blame them or I'm not criticizing, but it just made them look so desperate.
Correct.
And there was I sitting. In fact, I remember I was sitting on a crate, literally, the kacha lakde ka box. And Mazhar Khan walks up to me and he says, you're winning. So I said, thanks. And, that's it. On stage, even when they asked us questions, there was that struggle, with everybody. And somehow I always find that, you struggle too much. You don't have a grace.
Okay.
When I got the crown and I was doing my ramp walk, there was Paresh and my brother standing and clapping. And I actually wanted to giggle on stage, looking at them. They say, look at them, I didn't do ooh and all that. I was very happy to win. There's no ways I'm crying, no ways I'm shocked. I am the Miss India. So, that's how it was.
I think, what is very important is the self-confidence that you have and also the ease.
Yeah.
Like again and again, I tell people, when you want to manifest something, ask for it, leave the desperation and just know it's going to happen. And how beautifully, effortlessly
And
you
it's
created
so funny.
that.
I was going to say the same thing is that, I'd asked for it. I'd seen myself with the crown and then I left it.
Correct.
I'm not going to claw for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, this is important when I tell people the power of thought, the power of imagination. So you thought about it, you saw yourself, you visualize yourself winning it, and you left it.
Yeah.
Not again getting into the desperation. And that's one of the most important things. So once you have that awareness, you know the choices you're making, whether this is going to work for me, this is not. So when we talk about access consciousness, you also mentioned that, it's so important for you to get, but which is one thing that you connect with it? What is one tool or one thing that you use in your life on a regular basis?
So one tool that I use all the time is
Fuck for. Amazing. You know what? Like in the whole foundation, there are like 10,000 tools. And everybody who I have interviewed or I have met, they have used different that works for them. Now, how beautifully you have, shared this example that if your mind accepts some things, you create it. Yeah. So 15 years back also, when you were told, don't sit down and, with your work, especially now we'll talk about the education, you were sitting down.
I have to sit down. I work in the villages.
And so you didn't say, no, I'm going to sit on the chair only, because then the mind says, oh, now we can't sit down. We'll have to sit on the chair only. And then your body starts behaving like that.
Yes.
And then you start sitting on the chair. So this is when you're not able to sit down.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. But there are other tools which I use. The cellular demanifestation one.
The processes.
Yeah,
yes.
Those processes, they are so good, So they accompany. And that's why I believe it's a whole package.
Absolutely.
But like that one is all the time. Yeah, really.
So pork pot or pot and pork is a way of, just not buying anything and just destroying that, the thought. It just changes everything. So I love the fact about access. It just gives you these tools that will help you deconstruct the statements, change things, and your reality starts becoming different. So that's such an amazing, beautiful story.
So amazing. And that's why when I met you and I did that course with you, I connected so well. But I want to really thank you for it. I mean, it's like, I'm not being formal. I seriously, from my heart, I want to thank you for the, you know, you've given me so much more confidence. I was always confident, after a certain stage in life. But now I do it knowingly.
Knowingly. Correct.
That, like, again, that other thing, the Rita Faria thing was a fluke. This was not a fluke. This was, no, I'm doing something, but I did not have a name for it.
Correct.
Now I have a name for it. I know what to do, how to do it. And it gives me confidence, that no, I'm doing it. I'm making an effort from all over to make my reality happen.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing you achieving what great heights. I mean, I was so proud when you sent me the message that, you've been nominated
Top 10
in the
teachers
top
of the
10
world.
teachers award in the world. I mean, out of 10,000 nominations worldwide, it's not only just India,
Yeah.
What a proud feeling. What an amazing feeling. And you know what? That's what I would like you to keep imagining the impossible. There's one thing that I teach in my classes is how to create things that's beyond your imagination. Like sometimes imagination can also be a limitation. No, I
Yes.
don't think I can do that. I can think only this. But when we teach them to go beyond imagination, they can achieve because our mind has such potential. I always say we have infinite possibilities.
Yes.
And that is why I always keep talking about magic, miracles, and possibilities. Like
Possibilities.
one of the tools that I teach people in Access, what else is possible? Because now with you, if you can start asking more, okay, what else is possible
Yes.
that I haven't even considered yet? You never know where you're going to reach from here. But of course, the choice has to be there. The desire has to be there, And you can be either sitting at home and say, oh, now I don't want to do anything. Or I can say, what else can I do?
Yeah,
And
exactly. What else can I do? And it is like, either you said, oh, I want this and I'm just sitting at home and now nothing's happening. No, get up, move and do it because it can be done.
I think we are intellectual beings.
Yes.
So once we understand something, you connect with something. Like, kids come to the class, they connect with me.
Yes.
Because I give them examples where they can connect with,
Yeah.
And I think that connection should be there. Like I keep talking about universe, I keep talking about manifestation, but it's not mumbo jumbo. There is a science behind it. And once you understand the science, once you apply it, automatically you'll be able to see the result also. So, I would love to share with everybody the technique of manifestation. And maybe, I would like you to now start practicing this also because, you've already done it. Like you said, I would love to teach, the children, reached out to the children and you see, given back 5 years back, you were not doing this, but look at you today,
Exactly.
you wouldn't have thought about it that time.
Definitely.
I always say this, be very aware what you're saying, what you're asking, because it will become your reality. Thank you so much again for coming here. It was such an honor and I'm looking forward to hear more magical stories from you.
And I have to thank you very much because you don't thank me for this, okay? Because I have to thank you for being there for me.
Thank you. I'm always there for you and everybody, and that's what I'm here for. So thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Swaroop. I am going to make another video in detail how to do your manifestation because manifestation can be different for different people. So keep following me, subscribe and share it with your loved ones so that they can also learn the art of manifestation. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.